This is Ross Johnston, and you're listening to Accelerate Alaska, where we explore the competitive advantages, the systems, and the industries that move Alaska's future forward. So, Ryan, first I want to say thank you for being a sponsor of Accelerate Alaska. What data would you use that would help these business owners or managers make way better decisions?
Sure. A great example of that might be we help a large oil company on North Slope. They manage billions of dollars worth of projects, and so they have a lot of data related to those project controls data. So we help them put that information together and present it to leadership in a fast way that's accurate and that's understandable.
How do you spell Queryon again?
So it's query, Query, and then on.
How do you say it?
Queryon. Query on. Like keep calm and query on.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Ryan.
Thanks, Russ.
Tickets are now on sale for the next Accelerate Alaska conference, keynoted by Brad Feld, who Inc. magazine once named the most influential venture capitalist. Get your tickets now by going to accelerateak.com. That's accelerateak.com.
If you live for yourself and yourself alone, you will have one person looking after you. If you live your life in the service of others, you will find that everyone you touch will be watching you and helping you succeed. Few entrepreneurs embody this as much as David McCarthy, owner of the 49th State Brewing Company. We join him on stage during the entrepreneurship track.
I just want to say thanks for having me, and they always say if one person in the room takes something away from the speech, then it was well worth it. How many active entrepreneurs are here in the audience today? So it was about half there, and hopefully I can inspire the rest of you to also follow that path. We all feel insurmountable odds on a daily basis. Alaska offers incredible opportunities for all of us that are here, but it also offers incredible challenges. But it's how you view it. Is the glass half empty or is it half full? When you as an entrepreneur have a bad day, who's going to pick you up? Who's going to tell you to keep going? This is something you have to remember even before you start your adventure as an entrepreneur. What is the reason you started the journey? What drives you individually? What is the purpose? What's the impact that you're actually trying to make as an entrepreneur for whatever it is that you are trying to create? What I wish I would have known before I opened a business in Alaska, it's almost impossible to wrap up at 20 minutes, right? Because I think I'm going to face that for the next 25 years of my working life. It's a tough question because we're an ongoing dynamic business, and it's also an ongoing dynamic state. Everyone in this room is going to be making up decisions over the future on how do we work together. What are these things that we're going to change? How do these codes work? What are we going to build? Are we going to open up new areas in the state? What are the opportunities that we're going to allow the future generations to have? Everyone wants to know the secrets, right? The challenges ahead and how to avoid the pitfalls. I spent years worrying about this as I worked for these big corporations. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I want to strive, but I want to know all the answers. I want to know what all the pitfalls are. I could not jump in that pool. All I can say to you, the time you try to avoid the mistakes, all this time that you spend, you're wasting the time not getting closer to the goals. If you have the spirit, you've got to move forward with it. Because the reality is the mistakes are going to happen whether you like it or not. And it's your decision whether you learn from them or you let those mistakes overtake you. I wish I would have understood the logistic issues of shipping challenges and costs to Alaska. I deal with it on a daily basis. It's absolutely incredible. Sometimes I feel like I'm actually in a shipping business, right? The lack of infrastructure in remote areas, I didn't understand it. Municipal codes and building challenges, extreme swings in weather and how that would affect us. I couldn't imagine building in interior Alaska. I couldn't start a chainsaw at negative 68 outside. I had to start my car, heat the car up to heat the chainsaw, to start the chainsaw in the car to get out of the car, right? In my wildest dreams, I never imagined that to be a place where I was going to call home. Seasonality of businesses in interior versus Anchorage, the extreme swings of this and trying to navigate that as an entrepreneur, I'm still every day trying to figure out what rhyme or reason to this. There are only a few items I wish I would have known, and I'm happy to help, mentor, or talk to anyone over a beer at my pub. But today, I want to talk about what challenges us all on an equal plane and what I believe is the most important aspect in Alaska, which is people. People is really the business that I'm in. Eventually, it's the business that you're all going to be in. We're not manufacturing. We're not building business to give things to robots. We're actually manufacturing. We're giving things to people. We're serving people in my company. So people are such an essence of what we're doing. We have to stop and think about the people. I would like to spend some time actually talking about that today, because these are the challenges that not only I face, but we are all going to face as we move forward as Alaska. I break them down into 4 categories. 1, employees. 2, managers and leaders of your company. 3, vendors and suppliers. 4, the guests or clients, depending on what type of entrepreneur you decide to become. So I always say, let's start with the employees. I believe that they are the most important part of our business. They are actually our number 1 asset. And at most times, they're the most entertaining for me, right? So how does a little startup company in interior Alaska, the guy rides up on his motorcycle, he's got a great vision, he wants to be an entrepreneur, he sees opportunity. How am I going to compete against a global company that has more resources, can pay them better, can offer them fringe benefits like a global trip on a cruise ship for a quarter? How am I going to motivate somebody to come work for me, right? I had no idea this was a challenge, because where I grew up, you didn't even have to post a job, because you just said somebody to somebody at work, and guess what? There was 20 people looking for that job. That was not the environment I was now in. That was a challenge I had no idea I was going to have to face as an entrepreneur. How am I going to deal with this? We stood back, we tried many ways, and we had a lot of pitfalls. I looked at the individual, and I decided we're going to offer them a bigger purpose. As an entrepreneur, what was my purpose? What was my mission? What was my journey? This is now my home. Where do I want to see Alaska in 20 years from today? What is this business that I start today, and what is the impact it is going to make on our community in the next 20 years of my working career, or maybe longer, God willing? Something that they can believe in, a bigger meaning. There is no glass ceiling in our company. They apply as a dishwasher. Could they become a general manager? Absolutely. I just interviewed for a new HR person, which is amazing because I was all those jobs. And now we're hiring for HR. And the first person that came up, and I asked the candidate, can you take somebody that applies for a dishwasher and give them a plan to become the GM? And that person said no. And I said, thanks for the interview. They said, that's it? I said, if you don't believe in them, how can you hire them? Right? That's here. That starts with passion and the spirit that everybody has something good in them. There is no glass ceiling, right? And a lot of times we offer a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th chance, right? And people say, why do you keep letting these people come back? Because I may be better. They may be better. Maybe they learned from somebody else that they went to work for. Maybe I learned from the mistakes that they made, and I'm a better employer now. So when I bring them back, what if that moment in time, that 12th chance I gave that employee, is the one spark that they see and they help that company grow? Everyone's not perfect. There's no one in this room could say that. Everyone has a seat on the bus. It's what I tell every manager in our company. It's our job as an employer, as an entrepreneur, to see the good in all people that you hire. We may not see the good in all people outside of our job, but when you hire them, you have to see the good in them. It may not be the seat that that person wants on the bus, but it is our job to actually show them the vision on how to get to that seat on the bus. But we're going to find them that seat on the bus. A young man came in, was passed up by the human resource department in our company. Didn't have the experience. Typical, right? You fill out an online application, you don't have the experience. You get passed up. Somehow this young man's application came across my desk. And I thought, wow, he's applying for a cook and he's an overnight stocker at a local store with zero experience. I said, I want to meet him. Kid comes in, totally disheveled, hair like 3 different colors. I didn't even know you could do that. And he walks in there and I said, you want to cook? And he says, I feel I have passion. I watch TV shows. I want to cook. I saw in him what I have in myself. That's that passion. If you only hire for experience, we got a problem in this state. So to me, I took that young kid and I said, we're going to give you an opportunity. It's easy to hire for a job in Alaska if the talent walks into you. If you're going to grow, you have to be committed to train, lead, counsel, in some cases be their mother, their father, even their priest. Our labor pool is extremely small, and we are all looking for the best in the top 10%. That's a serious problem. It's just not possible. What happens to the other 90%? We just need to build them up and create a better workplace. If I spend time training this young man, and someday he leaves me because he could become your employee next. He actually could be the next entrepreneur. So when I hire somebody, it's not just the task that I'm requiring them to do. I actually look at myself as also teaching them everything. Henry Ford said a long time ago, why when I only need the 2 arms and legs, I get the whole body? We're not hiring machines. We're hiring people and we're serving people. We have to remember that as entrepreneurs and employers. There is a huge responsibility that we carry. That young man that we hired, I had to teach him, comb his hair, trim this, you got to dress like this. This wasn't actually technically in the manual, but I took that under me as an entrepreneur. The young man is now a supervisor in our company. I just asked him the other day to compete with us in Las Vegas at a pizza expo. Every time I see him, I don't know why, I just so happen to order a pizza on the menu. It tastes better. Maybe it's because his passion is in that pizza. Is it possible? You see the glow in that young man's eyes today. I don't know what his future holds, but it's something brighter in the state of Alaska today than it was before he had the job with me. That's an entrepreneur. Managers and leaders. I thought you just hired a manager or a leader. It's very simple, right? You put a job out, you say, I want a general manager, and this general manager walks in the door and goes, I've got all the answers. And I was like, sweet, you do. Guess what? They had all the problems. They brought everything from every other job. They came in here and they said, I'm going to tell you how to do business in Alaska. Well, I tell you what, I was like, you got to be kidding me. We had to look outside these 4 walls, right? That's what happens as an entrepreneur. You can't just follow the same routine over and over again. If you hire the same people, we just pass them around, we get the same product. So I said, we need to think outside the box. In our marketplace, I've learned that most companies, it's easier to just hire somebody from outside to be a leader or a manager. They go to the lower 48. They had been exposed to more divergence. They've had more experience. They've worked for bigger companies. They think that's going to solve our problem, right? But what happens when they get up here and they go, oh, it's too cold. I don't like the darkness. Wait, you paid me a ton of money, but now I saved it and I've got enough money to move back to where I came from because this isn't my home. That doesn't do us any good. That just won't work for all of us. We decided to focus on a different type of hiring for managers and leaders of our company. We decided to hire based on leading by example. So I had friends that would say, why are you digging ditches? Why are you behind the line cooking and expoing? Why are you cleaning toilets? I seem to clean toilets more often than anybody in our company. I think we need to hire for that. So that's another thing I had to deal with. Cleaning fish. I clean fish in the restaurant. Not on Saturday when I see the pictures on Facebook of my friends on their boat. I'm cleaning fish for the people that come in. That's how I make my money. I have to make massive sacrifices. But those managers and those leaders that are watching me as the owner, as an entrepreneur, they are saying, if he's doing it, I bet he's going to expect me to do it. And I turned to them and said, absolutely. And as the company grows, I have more and more responsibilities. I still have to complete those responsibilities on a daily basis. Many people say that leaders and managers are born. They are not born, they are developed. This is something we have to think about as a state. And it's your job to recognize the desire to lead and cultivate it. If you don't water a plant, what's going to happen to that plant? Simply just going to die. If we all go for the top 10%, what happens to the 90% in the state? They're simply going to wither off and die. They're just going to say, you know what, I'd rather not work. The largest trees need the right amount of water, the right amount of light, and the correct climate to grow. If you create it, our leaders and managers are actually all around us in Alaska. You just have to look. Add the water, add the light, in the right climate. And sometimes it's not the first time. Sometimes it's not the second time. We've passed employees from one company to the next, to the next, to the next, where there's people going, how many more chances are you going to give this person? Next thing you know, that the person that said that walked out on us. But the person that kept giving the chance is now leading our company. I met a server that had a desire to be a leader. So I decided to add that water, add the right amount of light, find the right climate. Sometimes I forgot to add the water. Sometimes I forgot to open the curtains, I have to admit, right? I'm not perfect. But somehow that plant and that person started to grow. Every now and again, I reminded myself, I got to add more water. I got to add more light. Maybe I have to change the environment, move that plant to a different window. And guess what happened? That server now is our GM of our company, of one of 7 that we run. That person is now heading up the newest projects, multi-million-dollar projects, from a server of a minimum wage employee to running a multi-million-dollar company, right? It's possible. You have to believe in it. Vendors and suppliers, I don't even know where to start. Okay? I could just do a mic drop right now. So I never understood the importance of choosing the right vendor and the supplier until I picked the wrong one. Vendors and suppliers have more power at the start of your business venture than you absolutely think. And I learned that lesson many, many times. Negotiate for everything you want and absolutely everything you need. That's all I get to tell everybody as an entrepreneur. Get everything in writing. Good paperwork, make good friends. I've heard this a million times. The head nod and the handshake, that's not the real world anymore. You got to get the commitment. It's not a text message. It's not an email. It's sitting in front of those people and explaining who you are, what your goals are, what's going to happen. I've got thousands of stories I could share, but I'm going to try to narrow them down into two that actually, hopefully, you'll take something away from. Two stories, one with a good ending and one with an ending that I call an opportunity to learn. Other people call that a failure. I constantly struggle with profit all the time in our business. This is part of an entrepreneur. We are a for-profit business. I constantly remind everybody in our staff. Even these non-for-profit businesses seem to also have to generate cash. It's very interesting to me. But I have a challenge because I have to produce that profit, or else guess what happens? We go out of business, correct? So how does this affect your growth, and how does it affect theirs? This company I went to, and I tried to convince them right away, hey, guess what? This is my vision. This is what I want to do. I need you to lower our cost of goods. This is our largest vendor. We spend millions of dollars with. If you lower our cost of goods and you believe in my vision, here, I'm going to continue to reinvest in the Alaskan marketplace and continue to grow. Yeah, good story. Young guy, great ideas, right? 9 out of 10 businesses they enter, they're all going to close. I said, but what if I'm the one? What if I'm the one that makes it? Oh, yeah. I said this year after year after year. Okay, it only took me 10 years to finally convince them. 10 years later, guess what? They walk up and they say, we believe in you. And boy, was I pissed. But at the same time, guess what? I still got 20-something years ahead of me. So I embraced that. I said, great, let's get that in a contract. Let's lower our cost of goods by 5 to 6%. That means they're making less money up here. But if they make a little less and I'll make a little more and I reinvest in the Alaskan community, I offer more jobs, more people come to our place to choose to buy from us, guess what happens to their company? Correct? It seems to be pretty simple, but it takes time, absolute time, and you have to remember that. It does not happen overnight. So that company and I signed an agreement. Very simple. Lower that cost of goods for the next 3 years. Excellent. I'm spending money hand over fist trying to grow our company now. And I got a call last week. We got bought out. Oh, crushed. But that contract I signed, they're going to hold it. Good paperwork. Very important. Then there's the bad part. Company, I spent a ton of money, ton of brand, building them. They're building up. They got passion even more than I do. Oh, they've got the greatest idea. You just put it in your business. You sell it across your companies. You do everything. I start spending money. I start marketing, advertising, changing our menus, putting their brand all over everything. And then one day, guess what? No phone call. No product. Not even a smoke signal, right? I got managers calling me like crazy from all over our businesses. Where is the product? I'm calling them. They won't even pick up the phone. They didn't even believe in their vision enough. All I got to say to you is, if you put money before your goals, you're going to lose. You have to put that goal before the money, and the money will come. How many years did I have to work for below minimum wage? The vision has to be there first, and it has to be brighter burning star than any money could present. That's going to help solve a lot of problems, because you cannot compete on a scale versus companies that can offer 6-figure jobs to people that not necessarily have the background or the education or the experience, but they just need a body. Then they have a new set, a new bar. That's what they think they're worth. I'm an entry-level business owner. Wow, it's tough when I offer $9.84 an hour, and they go, well, I was making $20 an hour at the other job. Well, guess what? I can only pay $10. So I have to think outside the box. I learned a lot from that company, because to me, you have to align your passion, your vision with the companies here in this state that also see that final goal. This is extremely important. Guests and clients. Depending on your business, it depends what you want to call them. We call them guests, you may call them clients. The one interesting thing about that I learned is we all need them in Alaska. What has Alaska taught me about this? Get outside, explore, see what else is there. Stop copying off everybody else. See what else you can add to the fabric of the community. See if you can add something better to there. Because at the end of the day, these guests matters because we're serving each other. We cannot just survive on tourists alone. We have to survive on each other, because guess what? There's a lot of dark days, and these tourists aren't up here. If you look at it, every guest matters, every single one. Even the one that complains the most. To me, I tell the managers, those are our best teachers. The reality is it's tough in Alaska, and it's tough as an entrepreneur. And most people don't have it figured out, including myself, but I try to learn every day by the mistakes that I make. In my opinion, you need to find a purpose that's great. You need to find a vision that you can see through, that you can transfer to other people. You need to see how it will impact our community in Alaska. And most of all, you need to have the tenacity to see it to fruition. There's many dreamers out there, but when times get rough, I don't get to go out on the boat, go fishing on Saturday. I got to be in the business and work when everyone else is playing. And that is because I see a greater vision for what we can be as a state. I just want to thank you for your time. Thanks for having me up here. I hope everyone has a chance to come to our brewery after this. We have a little meet and greet at 5:30 with some appetizers in the theater there. And those people that have not seen what we've been trying to do here in Anchorage, take a look down there, and maybe you have an experience that might be slightly different than everything else you had. And I'd just like to say, our company has surpassed now, we employ over 650 employees now. Right? From 18 employees to 650, and people say, I'm crazy. Well, guess what? Maybe you have to be a little crazy to make change happen. So thanks very much, and I wish all of you great success in every venture that you have out there. Let's support each other and make the state a great place to live.
A big thank you to Gretchen Fauske and Nolan Clauda for organizing the entrepreneurship track. I hope you enjoyed what you heard. If you want to see the presentation with slides and visuals, go to accelerateak.com. Do you enjoy this podcast? If so, go to accelerateak.com to find out how you can contribute, volunteer, or even bring an Accelerate conference to your town. accelerateak.com. This has been an Accelerate LLC production. The future is already here if you know where to look.